ESL of Aryabhatta College, wishing you all a very energetic International Yoga Day. To celebrate this special occasion, ESL Aryabhatta cordially invites you all to this session. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our head convener, Dr. Monica Agarwal, and co conveners, Dr. Shivani Raheja and Dr. Ruchi Sharma, who have given us constant support and encouragement, without which this event would not have been possible. I'd also like to express my gratitude to our Honorable Principal Sir, Professor Manoj Sinha, whose support and encouragement have made it possible for us to hold this session effectively. Unfortunately, Professor Manoj Sinha couldn't join us today, but he congratulates the entire team of ESL for conducting this session successfully. Now, without any further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Naina to introduce our eminent speaker.
Thank you, Simran. Now, I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker to everyone, Miss Mehak Gupta. Miss Mehak Gupta is a certified level 1 IndeaYoga teacher. She specializes in Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Yin Yoga, Chakra meditation, and Reiki healing. She has been practicing yoga for the past 14 years and received her training from Mysore, Rishikesh, and Delhi. For 4 years, she has been actively working with women. She is currently conducting virtual workshops and programs for problems like PCOS, stress, thyroid, migraine, and weight management. On the behalf of the entire team of ESL Aryabhatta, I would like to extend my warmest greeting to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here, and I'm really looking forward to this wonderful session.
Now, without further delay, let us move on to the questions. Now, over to you, Triguna.
Thank you, Nena. Let's start with the questions, ma'am. My first question to you is what inspired you to start the initiative Mehak Yoga? How did you turn into a businesswoman from a yoga teacher, and what was your journey like?
Um, so if I have to just brief about my journey, so yoga came in my life when I was 11. At that time, I was just practicing as any kid would do, and I continued with my own practice, and I pursued my graduation in economics from Delhi University itself. So I have been always inclined towards something related to the body. I did theater as well. I was into dance as well. So yoga has been a part of my life on and off, I would say. Coming to what made me get inclined towards starting my own business and that whole transition from just a practitioner to, I would say, a business person was firstly not to just you know be a practitioner, but also establish myself as a brand, establish myself as somebody they people would find one stop shop for when it comes to women health or anything related to women disorders or ailments for that matter. So my idea towards establishing myself as a business person was firstly to get recognized, and also for the name to go forward in the industry, and not just in the industry but also in the society uh, towards when it comes to women health. So that was my whole motive of becoming a business person. So that was obviously that doesn't happen in one day. I would say it takes a lot of courage, especially when I've been brought up in a family where everybody is having a fixed job, and my parents are into service. So it takes a lot of time, and I would say not just time but also courage and a lot of calculations to be done to as to you really want to enter this unconventional field. You really want to do this, and obviously all of us know business has a lot of ups and downs, given what the pandemic era has been. So one needs to keep up with the pace of what the industry goes, and not just keep up but try and focus on creating and innovating. I think this is one of the very key elements when it comes to any kind of business. You cannot sustain an industry if you don't innovate, if you don't create, or if you don't invest into creating something unique, into creating something which is not just unique but also which suits your what you call the prospect customers or clients or whatever you want to say. So obviously it takes a lot of I would say, a lot of effort to be a business person in a field which is very unconventional, but at the same time has a lot to do with your passion, and what drives you is serving the society. So that was my aim towards starting as a business person.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. We really hope that the audience must be inspired from this. So, the next question is: in today's busy and fast paced world, how can yoga help a person improve their work life balance?
Very nice question, I would say. And just adding on to my answers, if somebody has any doubt, please feel free to reach out to the team. And if you have any cross question, I would love to answer. You can write in the chat if that is the case. Coming to what how to maintain the work life balance. So let me just give you a small example. For example, you have exams. You all are college students, so you will relate to this. You have exam. Most probably you have a tomorrow. You have a big exam. So obviously you're sitting and you're studying, but you'll feel a lot of tiredness in your legs or tiredness in the shoulder muscles, and you'll have probably headache and all sorts of things. There's something related to the stress which is impacting your physical self. Even if you're not really jogging or running or anything like that, but you do feel a lot of tiredness in your legs. For example, you have a very stressful situation, you're sitting in exam, you feel a lot of tiredness in your legs. Your legs are not really working, but still you feel that. That is what the mind and body connection is all about. So whatever goes within us, it's just not related to one part. It's the whole body which is invested into that whole process. So when I have to talk about stress, it's just not what's going here. It's more of what's going, your whole body. So when it comes to how yoga can help you create that balance, yoga itself means to get that equanimity, that balance within. And by balance, I don't just mean on a emotional level. Obviously, there is a great part of emotions, that we work towards in yoga, but there's also called mental balance, there's also called physical balance, and there's a process in yoga where we use the physical body to work on the emotional self, the mental self. Coming back to your question, how can one really work on the work life balance? So let's just break down this whole phase of work life balance. What does that simply mean? So if I have to say what's my work life balance, so probably that would be if I go back to bed at night and if I feel lost, if I feel okay, I don't know what's happening, and I just can't get any control over all the elements in my life, and I'm just doing it. I don't know what's really happening, and I can't just put myself together. So that means the balance has been lost. There's a big imbalance, and I might feel consumed or absorbed by one or the other thing, or probably something related to my personal life, or maybe the work pressure is such that I don't know how to take time out for my own self. So that is for me the work life balance is disturbed. Coming to how yoga is going to help you, so very firstly is the routine which yoga talks about. I know this might sound too much for college students, and I totally understand how the college life is. And when somebody talks about routine or having, a body clock, a one time to eat, and all sorts of things, this appears like we are not there yet, and we don't want that yet. But I'll tell you a very beautiful thing that um, once you start to have that routine, once you start to have that body clock that we say that there's a time when you wake up, there's a time when you eat, there's a time when you walk, there's a time when you sleep. There's less chaos in the head. And by chaos, I mean the thoughts. I think a lot of us would relate to this term called overthinking or getting too much involved in the cycle of thoughts in our head and we just can't get out of it. We're just so stuck. A routine helps you to deal with it. Obviously, you cannot stop a lot of factors which are inducing stress in your life, a lot of things which are making you anxious in your life, and obviously you have few things that you need to, that pressure has to happen in that age, I would say. But that routine brings a lot of calmness in the emotional level, and you feel stable. Talking about something which is doable is, if you can just shell out few minutes of your day to just not really interact with people and just be by yourself. And when I say by yourself, not really scrolling your phone, but just being by yourself. And I think yoga or any kind of regime gives you that space as well. When you're just detaching from all the external sources and you invest yourself for a limited time of the day. Okay, I'm just not gonna think over the pending task, but this 1 hour is for me, it's for my body. That helps you not to get absorbed or lost in the external thoughts or external environment. At the same time, you're able to give time to yourself as well. You're able to become aware about your body as well. A lot of us don't really realize what's happening in our body until unless it becomes a disease, it becomes, you know, some medical condition. And then we think, okay, how did that happen? When did that happen? I didn't do anything for that. So let's not wait for that moment to come in. Let's try and become more aware. So what awareness is all about? Let me just break that down as well. Awareness is just simply observing. It's a very simple thing, yet can be very difficult as well. For example, when you are lifting, your bag, for example, you're aware that you need to, if it's a very heavy bag, you say to yourself, okay, it's a very heavy bag. I need to, use all of my strength to lift it. And if you don't do that, you might just have a muscle pull. You are well aware of it, and this might have happened with people before as well. That you know you do something mindlessly, and there's some injury or there's something that has happened. So that awareness is throughout when you're practicing yoga, and that also depends on how you've been guided into practicing yoga. A good teacher would always make you more aware about what you're doing, how you're doing, and how are you feeling while doing it. It's just not moving your hand. It's just not moving your any body part and sort of burning the fat or burning the calories or anything like that. These are all byproducts. What actually comes in is more about the awareness towards where you are, where how do you feel, and not just feel, what are the thoughts going inside. And a lot of us struggle with the whole concept of self-image and how do we perceive ourselves. So yoga also helps in improving that perception towards your body, yourself, and you as a human as well. Coming back to the work-life balance, my takeaway would always be: firstly, shell out time for yourself in 24 hours. Don't say things like, I have work, I have a lot of stress. Everybody has 24 hours. It's your choice if you want to get absorbed by external forces and just end up having those quarter life crisis or anything like that, or act today for yourself. Because for me, your body is the best companion that you will have for your whole life. So if your body is supporting you in every task throughout the day, I think we owe that much to our body to just have some time, maybe have a conversation that how am I doing today and how do I feel. And even if you're feeling negative, even if you're feeling sad or angry or anything like that, that's an emotion. You need to recognize that, you need to process it. So that helps you, I think, on a longer run, that you don't have those outbursts, you don't have um, those deep, rooted, unresolved problems or unresolved issues in terms of your mental health. That really helps you work towards your mental well-being as well. So firstly, shell out time for yourself. I'm not going to force people to join yoga classes or start practicing yoga even if they don't like. I believe if you are aligning with the yoga practice, it's going to help you create magic and create a lot of good changes in your body. If you don't align in the first few sessions, try not to force yourself, because force will not bring any kind of change or any kind of result, if I have to put it in that way. So shell out time if possible. Try practicing yoga for at least 20 minutes. If not 20 minutes, at least 10 minutes. If not 10 minutes, just go for a walk. And by walk, I don't mean stay in your room, because closed spaces are not really helpful in channelizing thoughts. So it would be great if you can just expose yourself into a good open air space that's going to help you with your thoughts. And lastly, don't underestimate the benefit, the role, and the importance of good sleep. And when I say good sleep, I don't mean you keep on sleeping for the whole day and that's the best sleep you get. By good sleep, I mean that if you're waking up fresh, if you're waking up energetic, that means you had a good sleep. If you wake up exhausted, tired, full of thoughts, and really heavy in your head, that's a sign the sleep was not good and you need to work on that. Just by working on sleep, you can actually slow down the aging process and help you become more efficient in your own work, whatever work you're doing, more efficient as a person, and the presence of mind in whatever task you are invested in helps. That increases a lot if you work on sleep. So these are the very few benefits of working on sleep. Obviously, there are a lot of things lined up in that as well. So my takeaways: firstly, work on creating time for yourself. Yes, you need to create time for yourself. Secondly, take out some time for any kind of physical activity, because we humans are designed to be physically active. We are not designed to have a sedentary lifestyle. So try and work on that. That's like investment you do for when you're, when you are around 40 or 50, you are having less kind of problems and medical ailments. So that's like an investment that you're doing today for like 30 years from now. And lastly, work on the sleep routine. So that's what I would have for work life balance.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really an elaborative and insightful answer. I'm sure that our audience must have learned a lot from this answer and would apply these things in their daily life. So the next question is: we think that asana, pranayam, and meditation are beneficial to both physical and mental health. Can you throw some light on how these practices can help a person prosper and how are they good for mental and physical health?
Um, as I gave you the example of how mind and body is related, so asana, pranayam, and all those things, meditation, there are different parts of yoga. Obviously, there are more parts to it. So we put asana as the third limb of yoga. So there are 8 limbs. We have uh, the other 2 limbs are more about disciplining yourself as a person. The asana comes at the third level, and the fourth is pranayam. And after that, we have meditation. So, what's the logic of working on the asana first and not pranayama or meditation first? So, when it comes to yogic philosophy, we believe in disciplining our different elements. So, when you discipline your body, when I say discipline in the body, it doesn't mean that you enter into an army regime. When I say discipline, it means that you have that control, you have that awareness about your physical self. And what's our physical self? It's the body. Controlling about the body deals with not just the balance, but also helping each and every part be strong, flexible enough for carrying each and every task throughout the life. Putting this in a very simple way. How all of these elements, so pranayama is basically disciplining the breath. Breath is something which is happening very involuntarily. So we don't have to put effort to breathe. That's how it's happening on its own. But if you see, giving an example again, when you're scared, you're very scared. For example, there's a tiger in front. Obviously, you will not be breathing very deeply. Your breath is gonna be very short. You'll feel your heart like really pumping very hard in your chest. So breath is directly related to your emotional self. One example that I gave of being scared. So it is said that when you start working on your breath, you start to work on your emotional self. You start to work towards your emotional well-being as well. So gaining that control over the breath is all the pranayama is all about. And lastly, that is the meditation. Meditation is a very vast aspect. It just not deals with something related to your visualizations or something um, in the spiritual world. You amalgamate with the higher source or something like that. These are all interpretation and they are very obviously that's a very deep work, and to reach that stage, to reach where you're able to manage that energy, deal with that energy generation within, you need to discipline your body and your breath. That's the reason meditation comes at the end. Coming to the question how that can help you balance yourself and get that mental and physical well-being. So all these aspects have a role to play. And when you start working progressively, so it's not like a magic, it's not like a quick pill that you do asana today and you're good to go. You don't have to do it again. That's why it's called yoga practice. It's not yoga event or anything like that. That's a practice. You practice it more than talking, more than seeing or reading. You practice it. So the more you practice, the better your body starts to align and the changes happen. When I say changes, it doesn't have to be something related to what you ideally would want to. Changes with respect to you as a human. A lot of us don't really expect behavioral changes or changes on the personality level, but that is something people get after years of practice as well. If I have to give you the example of my own self, I've been a very hyperactive kid, and I think I was mildly aggressive as well in my early years. Yoga really helped me to work upon the calmness within, to get that calmness within, to get that stability on the emotional level within. So obviously that's not a work that that's not something that you achieve in one day or two or maybe 1 month or two. It takes time, and when it comes to time, it's not a benchmark that you practice for these many months you get this result, because that's not how yoga works. Everybody is different. We treat in yoga, we treat that everybody is different, and everybody has to align with the process, and the process takes its own time to show the effect. So it really helps you. If I have to mention broadly what all things it helps you with, firstly, firstly is your digestion. I think digestion is one thing which goes haywire. First thing when you travel, first thing that goes haywire is your digestion. So yoga really helps you in working on your metabolism and your digestion. So your digestion, it doesn't mean that you get really hungry. It helps you to get that balance within, which we call also the digestive fire. It helps you to get that balance on the digestive fire level. So people having gut related issues, people having issues related to IBS or GERD or acidity or hyperacidity or constipation, all these things start to get balanced and get minimalized over the period of time when you practice. So first thing, getting better at digestion. Second, very important, is feeling good about yourself. Very, very rare, because thanks to all the crap that is there on social media and obviously what we hear in the society, we don't really get good sources to appreciate our own self, especially our body. We always feel that I'm not ideal or perfect or fit in some or the other way. So yoga really helps you to build that good relationship with your body, to feel more positive about yourself, feel more um, accepted, like you feel that there's more of acceptance and there's more of love towards who you are is entering uh, your life. And when it comes to having that physical fitness, I don't want to put this across too much because obviously there's a lot of noise around when it comes to fitness and a lot of um, weird notions in terms of the fitness as well. So fitness doesn't mean to have a slim body. Fitness doesn't mean to have abs. Fitness doesn't mean to have, I don't know, this kind of waist or all those proportions. Fitness is about having healthy muscle fiber, just talking a bit scientific on that. Having good, healthy muscle fiber, strong bones, and good mobility in the joints, and you feel your body from each and every inch has been worked upon and is work and you're working on it progressively to build a fitter self of your own self. So there's no ideal image of a fit body. It's your body type and how fitter you're becoming every after every practice. So that, and obviously there's a big balance that comes within that control that you have on your body. So coming this, these are all physical aspects. When it comes to mental aspects, in a lot of times when we are very anxious, when we are very stressed, and again we don't have control over a lot of factors, yoga really helps, and I think it has helped me to cope up. As I said, you cannot really run away from a lot of situations. You cannot really negate the factors that are there. All you can do is balance and manage that. So it really helps you to manage that. Stress is something which is again said very easily, but it's I think underlying in all of us, in all of our lives, because how the lifestyle is right now. So it really helps you to cope up with that and not let stress affect you in a very harmful way. Like I have worked with people um, having major anxiety issues that they cannot sleep. I've worked with people having anxiety on a daily basis. I've worked with COVID recovery patients uh, who are not observing good sleep and their normal heart rate used to stay above 100, 110. Yoga really helps you to work on dealing with all those things. And I can just say by seeing the results itself that people like these and a lot of people who do not have any major issues have experienced such change that yes, they are able to balance, even if they are in a stressful situation, even if they are in any anxiety driven situation, they are able to manage themselves, get the awareness and manage. Yoga also helps you to get aware about your emotions. How do you feel? Because you're trained to get the awareness towards how do you feel, you get that awareness on a daily basis as well. And obviously, breath really helps you to work on your lung capacity and your lung health. I think in COVID times, this is something we all really appreciate and look towards that, you know, good lung health. So even if we get COVID positive or anything like that, we are able to cope up with it. Our body is able to fight with it in a very good way and able to recover from it as well. So there are a lot of benefits, but few are some that I mentioned. And I think this is something again acts which acts like a investment towards who you will be or who what kind of body you wish to have when probably when you're 50s or 60s, because I don't think so anybody here would want a body full of ailments and depending on a lot of medications just to survive. That brings a lot of discomfort, and that feeling of being dependent on such things is, I think, not very ideal. So, investing today towards investing not just a very small chunk of your daily routine, is just a very small thing, a very small change which can give you good and I would say sustainable results in the future, which is like 20, 30 years from now on. So that is something.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this information. As you have already mentioned, yoga has healing powers and can help us prevent a variety of diseases. Personally, what is the most significant change that you have observed while practicing yoga?
When it comes to my own practice, one I mentioned about me getting calmer. If I have to tell you about the very visible changes, even I was there when you're not able to sleep till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. You're still up. You're wasting time on screens, but you're still not able to sleep. Getting up at I don't know 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Not having a cycle and feeling um not very positive about your body, especially your body. So I was there few years back, I would say. And the changes that yoga brought was firstly, my sleep cycle has improved to that level that I don't feel that lethargy throughout the day, even if I slept less than 8 hours, I would say. I take that limited hours of sleep, but that's so fruitful that I keep going throughout the day. Second day is, I think, very underrated aspect of yoga practice is the body positive approach. If you have been practiced by if you have been taught by a good teacher, the teacher will always make you feel that positivity, that acceptance towards who you are, not really wanting to become something or become somebody like that. So I was there. I think all of us deal through it when I was a teenager. So throughout my childhood, I was an underweight kid, and I always felt inferior in some or the other way. That I don't appear like a beautiful woman who looks like this and all sorts of things, and I would never um, be that kind of woman, something like that. So I spent good amount of time in my childhood being involved with all those thoughts, I would say. And I think yoga just brought such beautiful changes. Obviously, I was able to recover from the whole underweight scenario. Not just that, but also bring that acceptance, and that matters a lot. That changes a lot. I feel when you look at yourself in the mirror, it changes how you look at yourself. That is something I feel, especially in Indian society, we need to inculcate more. So having that body positive approach towards yourself really changes, and the way you see yourself, the way you criticize yourself as well, that changes a lot. Other change that I would say is being more present. Being more present. There was a time in my life again when I felt I don't know what's happening. I'm just so lost here, and I just felt all over the place and could not just gather myself, which we also call living a zombie life. So I was there, and I feel yoga was always the space where I could just withdraw myself and come, organize my thoughts, organize myself, and then go back to the external world, because I feel external world is always taking away energy from you, and you feel exhausted. So luckily, yoga helped me to not get too much exhaustion and still manage to feel that emotional stability, feel that emotional groundedness within. So I think these were a few changes I would say that I've got through my yoga practice over the years.
Thank you so much for your answer. I'm really sure that this answer has inspired a lot of people to start practicing yoga in their daily lives and experience these sort of changes themselves. So the next question is, you're starting a month-long program from 22nd June onwards called Women's Fitness Program, which is for people who are looking to get into physical activity and manage daily stress. Can you tell us how a student can manage daily stress with the help of yoga?
I think as I mentioned, firstly, asanas really help you. Asanas help you in a way that you get that detachment from the external world, and you're able to invest yourself into something that feels out of your, you know, usual mental level and what all thoughts are involved. So that definitely pranayama helps a lot. Just quoting the example of one of my students again who was recovering from COVID. So she was not able to get good sleep. There's one more student that I have. She got COVID this Jan, and she has experienced things that she has never experienced. She got migraine, she got tinnitus, she's not able to sleep, she get anxiety attacks, a lot of things. Pranayama really helps you to get that centering, get that mechanism to deal with the stress. So how it helps, it's a process, definitely. It's a practice that you do, and on a daily basis, over a period of time, you observe the changes on managing stress. So when it comes to stress, what exactly do we want? So I think all of us agree that we cannot really negate stress from our lives. And in a way, stress is also important to give ourselves that push that okay, you need to do something. So stress is a healthy thing as well. Without stress, we cannot really function. So we cannot really negate stress from our life. What we can do is, for example, my stress level is right now 10. I am just feeling too loaded in my head. If there's something which can help me bring that level from 10 to 5, it will take time for it to go back to 10, right? If I don't do anything, it might just go to 20. It might just go to 30, and it just becomes too hard to even function. You just can't process things. So, practices like yogic breathing, practices like just Nari Shodhan done in a correct way really helps you to balance that, really helps you to bring that level from 10 to 5. And then obviously the factors are anyway non negatable, so they will play their role and it will start to build up. So on a usual basis, on a daily basis, if you can bring that level down every day, you're good to go. Obviously, stress is something, again, I'm saying again, which we cannot negate. What we can do is to manage it. So management of the stress happens through yogic practices. Practices like if you're into inversions, if you can practice inversions, great. If you're not into inversions, simple balancing asanas are really helpful in balancing in managing stress. Also, breath work when it comes to pranayama, as I mentioned, yogic breathing. Then you can go for Nadi Shodhan, simple Nadi Shodhan, which also people call Anulom Vilom. You can practice that. Practice whenever you get time. There's no idle time. Let's not get into the idle time frame because that again brings a lot of confusion and a lot of anticipation and a lot of discomfort within us. So whenever you get time, practice. Yoga breathing is anyway something which all of us can practice. It's very safe, very effective to work instantly on the stress level and the anxiety level. So it's gonna help you instantly to reduce the stress that is there in the body. And definitely over the period of time, if you're doing the practice correctly and there's somebody to correct you and guide you as well, I think stress is something which will not be a big monster in your head, which will not be something that you want to, work on because that is anyway being taken care of.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This was really insightful and must have helped a lot of people looking to manage their stress in their daily lives. So, the last question for the day is what differentiates yoga from other exercises like aerobics, gymming, and all those things which are going on around? And what are the benefits of yoga like against them?
A bit debatable question, so I'll try and answer it in a more safer and non, I would say, demeaning way. So I anyway don't respect any other fitness regime because I feel everybody cannot align with yoga. So and it's completely okay. So how it differs? Firstly, it involves much more than your physical self. You're not just working on your physical self, which the body that you see. You're working beyond that. You're working towards your breath. You're working towards your emotions. You're working towards also unburdening the past traumas, the past, you know, emotional burden that we carry in our different parts of the body, which we also relate to chakras. So, as compared to other regimes, you're working beyond your body, and in a way that you don't even realize, in a way that is very simply, put in front of you that you don't even realize. So that is that. Secondly, you never come out of a yoga session tired. You never come out exhausted. That is, I think, the beauty of practicing yoga. You never feel that, oh my god, I can't even lift a bottle of water because I'm so done or tired. Because it's all about having a balanced practice. A good yoga teacher will always make you feel balanced within. If you feel that you cannot climb your stairs after yoga session, please don't come to that teacher next day, because that teacher is making you practice gym, not yoga. Yoga is about balance. So when I say balance, there's always a dual aspect. So if, for example, if you're working on what we call abs or abdomen, a yoga teacher will work in a way that you don't feel, okay, I can't even laugh because it's hurting. There's a muscle involved here, there's a muscle involved here. If you just keep on working, you're doing half of the job, you're not doing the other job. Yoga helps you to work in a way which is balanced. So you're working here and here, both sides. It doesn't feel that a work when you do. And this is one of the reasons you are able to come to the mat the next day. A lot of us, I've seen a lot of people doing other regimes and they're not able to just get up and come to the practice the next day because they just feel so tired. They just feel that inability to do it because they have overdone it the last day. Yoga never happens because it's more on the sustainable level. It's not what is, what how much you put in today. It's about how much you put in over the period of time. So you're working consistently on a sustainable way, that you're coming practice regularly. You're doing a practice regularly. Obviously, there's uh, scope for and there's a space for rest and recovery as well in your practice. So that, and I feel it also differs in the perspective. Um, if you're looking towards something on the physical change instantly, you might pick up other regimes. Yoga never gives you that instant result because it doesn't want to. It wants to give you the result which sustains, which stays. So even if you leave your yoga practice, I have left my yoga practice for a good amount of time, maybe because I got COVID, because I'm traveling or anything like that. I've left, but I don't feel that, okay, I'm back to where I started. I'm back to how I felt initially. All the changes are just exhausted. That never happens because you're working on a very controlled pace, sustainable pace, so it doesn't vanish. So this is one of the beautiful practices, and the very important, differentiation which I also felt is it doesn't reduce or increase your body structure in a way which is inappropriate. When I say inappropriate, not in the societal terms, inappropriate according to your body's proportion. As I mentioned, I was an underweight child throughout my childhood. Yoga, I'm practicing since years. A lot of people think if you do a lot of yoga, you'll become, I don't know, invisible or something like that. You become a rubber band or something like that. Doesn't happen. Yoga brings the change which is according to your body type, according to your body structure, and that change is going to sustain. So it's not like you'll, for example, you lose a lot of, you do a lot of arm balances, you'll have a lot of bulk in your arms. Doesn't happen. It will, the change is going to happen till the time your body structure and your type is uh, needs that. Beyond that, it will not. Beyond that, it will just improve the muscle quality. That's it. So this is, I think, a few things that differentiates yoga from other regimes. Coming to the second part of the question, what is better? What suits you is better? Simple answer. If you're liking, for example, a dance routine, go for it. Please don't force yourself to practice yoga because it will not have, it will not give you that magic. If you're liking yoga, yoga has a lot of different style as well, a lot of people like the heated style of yoga that they practice Ashtanga. A lot of people like grounding. So I like to be more grounded. So I practice Hatha. There's restorative yoga. There's Yin yoga. There's Iyengar yoga. A lot of variations to play with, to experiment with, to see how you respond to it. So there's a lot that yoga can also offer. It's all about what you align with. So there's nothing better. There's nothing lesser than anything. I would say it's all about how you as a person, you as a body, and you as a human are aligning with the process. So whatever you're aligning with, please go ahead with that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, with this, we come to the end of our discussion. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time from your busy
Thank you so
schedule.
much.
We are grateful to everyone involved in making this session a great success. Last but not the least, a very big thank you to our audience for being throughout this session. Once again, we wish you all a very happy International Day of Yoga. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for joining, everybody. And if you still have doubts or questions, we can take this forward on the social media handles that we have. And again, a very happy International Yoga Day to all of you, and hope to see you practicing yoga someday. Please take care.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And ma'am, just before you leave, I think in every question, Tribuna is thanking you and that it's very inspiring. I just wanted to say personally that I have suffered from digestive